Good evening, friends. This is Arpita here. So today, Transformative Series Part 6, we are going to talk about parent and child. Let us understand this bond of parent and child. What is this parent and what the aspects that influence on every child about parent and how the aspects of child influencing the parents. Okay. So first, let us begin with the manifestation part. From conception to birth, what is happening between the child and also the parent? What are the symptoms? First is we need to understand, and it is the thought which is taking shape in reality, right? It is about conception to birth. It is when the thought begins to shape the reality, right? And what are the symptoms in this stage, in the early stage, at the conceptual stage? What are the symptoms every parent undergoes is the stress, difficulty in adjusting something new. And this is what happens even for the child who is born after birth. It is difficult to, it is always for a parent, whenever the conception has happened, once the parent conceives, it is like there are so many difficulties physically and mentally and emotionally a parent goes through. It is like adjusting with something new, one more form. Within a form, there is another form which is taking place. So all these difficulties and this, it is reframing of the old. It is the upgradation of the old version which is coming up. So what is the mind status? What are the fears generally they go through? Fears of making mistakes. They might commit a mistake. I need to be very strong. I need to be healthy. I need to have a good diet. All these factors and memories of past. There are even sometimes, their own childhood, their own memories of what happened in their childhood. All this pops up. Okay. And in the defense, what a parent does is the perfection, and past is becoming the now. So the fear is also manifesting. Right. When a parent is giving birth to a child, there are so many fears. Oh, I heard that when I was in my mother's womb, this is the things my mother has faced, or maybe my ancestors have faced when they have gone through this conception and this process of giving birth to a new one. So all these fears they're taking up. There are the formation, every cell, every memory of each and every cell is activated, is awakened completely at that time of moment. That's the reason, in earlier days, we used to say that, every pregnant lady should be very alert, always good to listen new good things, all about maybe our scriptures or, whatever things, all the positive things. And always the mind should be very calm and clear, all these aspects. Why? Because that is because when the memories, whenever you are passing through your childhood, the place where you left long back, you begin to automatically, the memories of all those past events will reawaken in you. So whenever a woman holds a child, whether even any parent is about to become a parent, all their childhood issues, all whatever happened in their early stages, everything awakens. There are some positive things, there are some fearful things, there are some sad moments, everything might come out. And in this process, they come out with so many fears and defense mechanism and all this. And now this is still conception to birth, right? And now after birth, what is happening? After birth, there might be a confusion. It is like unable to connect between in and out. As long as the child was inside, the child was growing with all the sounds, becoming familiar of the sounds and the voices. See, the child is not seeing the face. As long as the child is inside the womb, the child is not seeing the face. But the child is connecting to the frequency of that voice in whatever volume or whatever way it is, the communication is happening. So the frequency is known. The minute you are born, you are taking shape in your mother's womb. That day itself, you have learned to understand the language of frequency. How this frequency, how this volume is coming up to you. What kind of volume is this, and what kind of volume is giving what actions in the physical body that denies this emotion. Labeling has happened later on, like, this emotion is called, this feeling is called fear, this feeling is called love, this feeling is called happiness, all this. But it is the reaction. So body has learned to react to those frequencies first. That's the reason they say body never lies, because it never learned to. It is the mind which goes into a different things. And now sometimes too much of mind application happens even in the parent. Oh, I need to do this, I need to do that, I cannot eat this. There are many parents I see, while they are carrying a child in the womb, they don't even eat whichever is little black in color. It is said in the olden days that if you eat black things more, the child also will be born black. Okay, as if black is not good. There was certain kind of things. So too much of trying the best to cope up with the new, trying the level best. Every parent, in whatever manner, with whatever of awareness they have received, or they've been receiving as suggestions from their elders, they have been trying to cope up with the new. They're trying to see to it that they give the best one. So that's the most positive thing. Every parent, in whatever way, maybe, in today's point, there are many things we might say the parents have did this thing wrong, that thing wrong, there are many things wrong. But every parent has undoubtedly tried beyond their capabilities to do the best for their child. And then even they had their own stories, their own circumstances, which probably, influenced wrong things in the child's life, right? We need to understand. And the fear of survival or unworthiness. Sometimes even the parent and child both go through, once after the birth, they both have to go through the survival. Again, their body has to rejuvenate and, reframe and restructure itself from the past, whatever it is. And sometimes there is, they might go, they're out of love. There might be a hidden fear of making mistakes. Maybe I might make mistakes, like what happened in my childhood. I don't want my child to go through the same thing, so I'll try to do the best thing. It is first, like, a person need to understand what happened in the past need not be repeated again. It is your mind which is deciding and believing it that the past might repeat. So you are coming to the conclusion that what happened in the past, I will not allow it to happen in the now. That very moment says that you are accepting in subtle way that past might repeat. Okay, past can never repeat. Every time a scenario, a situation, even if you see it is repeating, it is the upgraded version. You are already coming as an upgraded version. So every child is an upgraded version of the parent. Isn't it? If the child would have not been upgraded version, then we could have still been in the same uneducated woman, never, into the education mode, no technology, nothing. It is the upgraded version. Every generation we are growing ahead. We are stepping forward. Right? But this feelings of choking at times, sometimes the feeling of choking, even the child feels choking. It is creating this choking feeling, is all giving birth to a survival issue, a survival instinct, which is coming up whenever the choking happens out of, things. It is physical, it is scientific, the choking happens. But even this choking feeling is psychologically giving an effect to both mother and the child for the fraction of few moments. It is giving the unworthiness, or, it is giving survival sensation. And at times, a parent might feel exhausted, and being immature physically, being sometimes, being immature, and they do not know how to deal with. See, as it is when it is every child, maybe it is a point where everyone holds in the mind, oh, it is a second delivery or third delivery, they know how to handle. No, every child, every time it's a new birth. Every time both the parent and also the child. I'm using the word parent so that it does not, making it to the point of only mother or only father. It is both, right? Parent and the child both are going through a different kind of systems within psychological systems within themselves. They are feeling choking at times. They are feeling immature. They're feeling maybe they're learning. Everyone is learning. The moment the child is born, parent also is born. So the parent and child both are trying their level best to cope up each other and identify with that noises and with the movements and feelings. And even the mother, without seeing the child, is trying to known the child only through the movements the child might have done inside the womb, right? And for what songs or what things the child has made a movement, when after the birth, when it comes, then the mother is also relating. Just like how the child is also relating, the mother is also relating, right? And now what is the defense mechanism is I'm a parent kind of a feeling. Now this is I'm a parent. Now here there is a false identity also takes over. I'm a parent. Now there is a thing, it comes when elders come and say, to the newly become parent, that this is what we need to do, this is what we need to do. Sometimes because of being overprotective or being more careful because of the fear of making mistakes, they come into the feeling of I am parent, I am my child parent, I know my child better, this attitude. And they forget that they are also growing gradually, and it is okay to take suggestions from the elders. This is forgotten. No, I know, my child is completely different. Maybe a old lady of the house has come and told, oh, wrap the child might feel very trembling cold and all. So no, my child needs AC. Now generation is very different. My child needs AC. Okay, so we forgot, I'm a parent kind of a feeling is creating a wall between your elders and yourself. Your past, the why which has turned wise, is making a wall between your future and also to the reference what you could take from your past. Right? And now it is like the only solution for conception to birth, the best solution for whatever symptoms and fears every parent and also child goes through till the birth, is embracing the fears, letting go of the past, and accepting what is so is. Accept it that way. A new thing is coming up, it is fine, I'm accepting it. Whatever comes, I'm accepting. I'm not going to the past kind of a story like, oh, in my childhood this has happened, so this may happen again. So I'm not getting into those stories again. And embracing, this is what I fear. What I'm looking at as my past is something which is triggering my fear of today, of something. So it is okay. I embrace my fear and I can tell my fear, it is okay. It is not going to happen in this way. It may not be possible because that was the past and it is not the now. Right? And now after birth, whatever is the fears of survival or feeling unworthy or being hidden, there's a hidden fear of making mistakes and choking, all this choking things at times, feelings of choking things at times, feeling exhausted, all these things. When the defense comes, I'm a parent kind of a feeling, when all this in a defense mechanism comes, the only solution is accept the unawareness of now. Always accept some things, in spite of knowing everything, there is something you might not know in the now. Maybe you might know the past, you might know the future, this is what you're going to make up. But right now, maybe there are some things you do not know. So it is okay to take suggestions from the elders of the house. And every now is a new at the level of intellect. We need to also understand, every parent has to understand whether the elders of the house or the present parent of the house or would-be parents of the house, anybody, they need to understand that every now is at the level of intellect, it is new. So everyone is gradually knowing, okay, at that point of time it was like this. Right now, let us see, is this the same happening with the child? Earlier, we really felt shivering when the child was born. Is this the same thing today also in this generation? Or is there any change happening? So the intellectual level, there is so much changing. Physical symptoms may change, may not change. So we need to understand and move on, accepting through this, the thing of accepting the moment the way it is. That is the only solution. And now after birth till adulthood, what is happening? The symptoms are generally emotional and mental changes. Till the adulthood, from the birth to adulthood, whatever is happening from the child and also the parent, both are going through simultaneously. Because whenever the child is born, the parent is also born. Right? So there are emotional changes, there are mental changes, there are psychological disorders, there are some unknown guilt, lack of self-connection. All this symptoms slowly comes up. That's the reason we see so much of irritation and frustration and boredom and frustration in the teens. Because there is all these feelings are coming up. And for all the fears are not trusting and the fear of being alone. There is a fear of being alone also. Oh my God, I cannot be alone. Are you asking for a partner? Or are you asking a partner for your companionship, or you want to be with a person? Or is it because to fulfill some lack inside you, you are asking for a partner? When you reach the adulthood state. So we need to understand all that. And the defense always, which comes as the points of defense, as a defense mechanism using is arrogance, and there is all-knowingness. It is a stage of, oh, I know everything. It is like we know in childhood, the child says, my parents know everything. And then when they grow little older, they say, my teachers know everything. And they grow little more, they say, my parents does not know anything. My friends and my uncles know everything. After a stage, they say the final stage, nobody knows anything, only I know everything. Okay, this is the stage every child works, child goes, and even the parent also is going through the same stages. As the child is growing into adulthood, the parent also says, I'm a parent, I know, you better listen to me. I have seen more world than you. It is true, but there is something we need to understand. Even the child might be going through something or the other which parent is not aware, because that has not been there in their own life experience. Okay, so these things also happen. And the solution is always understanding the reflection, that whatever you are seeing is nothing but the image you have taken in your whenever you are seeing a child, you are seeing the reflection of your own childhood inside you, how it would be. That reflection is there, and that is what is being projected. And this could be false also, right? You need to understand these aspects, right? And basically, what are the fears and the consciousness of a child? What could be these fears and consciousnesses? First is the state of an abandoned child. Abandoned child is like left because the parents were busy working, or the child is starving for extra attention and reassurance again and again. There are many parents nowadays, the parents are very busy working. They don't have, it is not about quantity of time. It is the quality of time which needs to be given to the child. It doesn't matter. You are there from morning to evening. You are there with your child, only looking at his face, and you are providing everything to the child. But still, the child is lacking something, right? So it is more importantly, it is the quality. How much time you are really being there. You are communicating with your child. Your communication. You are matching the frequency. You are understanding. You are allowing your inner child also to awaken at that point of time. That is we need to understand all this. And abandoned child is the system, is the consciousness where, of a child, where the child feels very lonely and he always wants an attention more. For that, the child might behave anything. The child may purposely make a painting, and every now and then the child might come to the child, come to the parent and say, I have done this drawing, I've done this, I've done that. Might be the child might be showing so many things. Okay. Now, what is a neglected child? There's another thing is, what is the neglected child? Now, what is this? He is the child who is left alone without much love and nurturing. Right? Here, the child has no love and no nurturing since the moment his childhood is born, and there is difficulty to express. The child is coming through many difficulties to express what to say, what not to say, always feeling depressed and wants to hide and cry. Okay, so whenever we come across whenever we come across with a person whom we feel like parent, we might relive again all those memories which you have lived as a child. Maybe at that point of time you were not aware, but now when it is coming, you again feel the same feelings and again come to the same points, right? And you might again hide, and it might be becoming difficulty in expressing the same thing. And if a child has fear for authority figures, the child may fear even the loud noises. We need to understand, loud noises children cannot take. Okay, so now this is the neglected child we are talking about. Neglected child is always about who is left alone, who's got difficulty to express, who needs more love and more nurturing, but the child lacks all this and always wants to cry, hide and cry, is not wanting anyone to, the child is not allowing anyone to know the tears. And now next comes the playful child. Playful child is very naturally playful, and they're very creative and spontaneous and very fun loving, and they long to play. They're always playing. They'll see a playful child, they're always playing, they have never any issues, and they're always playing, and they're busy in their own world, happy and joyfully. They are very spontaneous. Okay, they work everything very spontaneously. They understand everything. In their creativity, they are very energetic. We can see those child. That's called the happy child, right? And now the spoiled child. Spoiled child is something who wants what he wants and throws temper. There's a child where this happens because maybe the child is lacking a love of both the parents. Maybe only one parent is there available for the child, and the other parent is not available. And now the parent is doing the roles of both parents, mother and father. Right. At this point, now whatever the child asks, because the parent is already feeling loneliness inside because of lack of the other personality reflection or the partner, all the lack is shown on the child. And whatever, sometimes it is not only because of the lacking of the partner, even the partner is there beside. There are some parents who just give whatever the child asks, because they want to feel that, oh, the child should be very safe. It is the emotions of fear that something might happen. Okay. In this way, what is happening is the child is becoming spoiled. The child is completely becoming a spoiled child. And as a spoiled child, they understand that when I show some temper, my parents are doing whatever I want. So this is the way to get things done. So they are learning. They're learning the other way round of parenting. They're learning through this fear. They're learning through their temper. They're throwing the tantrums and everything. They're throwing the things. They're crying. They're shouting. There's so many things. And there are some parents who are not being very comfortable. They always say, like, this child is a younger one, so even the elder one has to adjust now. Okay, child is a child. Child does not understand what is elder and what is younger. If anyone tells to you they have come first, they are important, as a child, a child in you will not understand. Where does it matter? Whatever is she, that is that. Whatever is the other child, I am also the same child. Why is the difference? So whenever you are showing the difference, there is always this child becomes more spoiled child, and the parents can't become the child a spoiled one. It is the comparison which is making the child spoiled. And next is the fearful child. Fearful child is overly criticized when they are young. Maybe the child might have born very active, dancing, fun loving, and everything. And the child has been criticized. Oh, now this child is going to dance. For every time this child is going to dance. So many times that his word has been criticized. The child stopped dancing, stopped expressing. So they need lots of encouragement now and positive affirmations to bring up that again. Okay, so that may not be possible. When you criticize a child, the child shuts the door for that activity. And it takes a lot of time and lot of encouragement and lot of positivity to fit in again the child to become the same again. And now comes the discounted child. Discounted child is never learns to be close to anyone. They are not counted. They are disconnected. I'm sorry. This is the disconnected child is they are never wanting to be close to anyone, or they feel intimacy is something alien. This is not for me, and very scary. And trust is the issue. They are not able to trust anyone because they are disconnected. There's totally disconnection happen. Generally, this happens with the children who are kept immediately after the birth. They've kept into the incubators and they feel completely cut off. They're disconnected. And whenever the umbilical cord is also cut, they feel disconnected. So all these aspects happen. And all these aspects are happening. The child feels the intimacy is feeling intimacy close to someone is like something alien, which is not in the child system, that does not enter into his mental and psychological, emotional system inside. And the trust becomes very issue. They cannot trust other person very easily. And now whether comes the discounted child. Discounted child is always ignored because is discounted one and treated as though it never existed. In earlier days, we had, a lady used to give birth to 14 children, 10 children, and all these things. And after 5th, 6th, and all, the child is never counted. We also know the Home Alone story. Home Alone, there were so many, in that movie, there were so many children. The last kid was forgotten. Okay, this is the system. That discounted, that is not, that the child does not exist at all. It is that kind of feeling. And no belief in self. And the child is holding no belief in self, because the child was never counted and needs lot of love to assist and support. The child needs to be hugged and the child needs to be made understand that is the counted one. Your presence is very important, is valuable, it is known. Whenever you are keeping any of your, even not only in the children, whenever it is coming to the relationships also, whenever you are being very close to a person and suddenly the person abandons you, or for whatever reason, maybe there was a mistake or whatever, misunderstanding or whatever, it keeps a person out, that creates a bad layer on the future of the person. It becomes very difficult for them to believe in themselves. These aspects need to be understood. There are many people who teach so much about child and everything, but when it comes to a person who might feel as them as parents, they might not understand. They might not, handle it properly. These mistakes keep happening. So that child grows, the particular person grows in no self, no belief in self, and completely loses all kinds of support. Right? These are the main aspects which comes when it comes to the fears of a child, how the character of a child is grown up with what kinds of fear behind. Generally, at 2 to 5 years of the age, a child is learning to communicate in whatever way, through actions, through imitations, and through so many things. The child is communicating, learning to communicate, the ways of communication, the language is known, the expressions are known, right? And now from 5 to 7 years of age, the child is exposed to the outer world. So the child, whatever communication he learned, he is now with that communication, the learning of this kind of communication, the child is going out to the outer world, stepping out into the outer world, and there might be a difference. Now, understanding all these factors, and now 7 to 14 brings a unique blueprint. This is the stage where child brings a unique blueprint. It is a knowledge on effects of polarities in life. The child understands the polarities. If this is happening, this also can happen. And there is always a why mode. The child always wants to understand a why mode. Why is this like this? Why not like this? No, so many questions. It is like from 14 to 21 years of age, the child is going into an independent judgment. They go into the sense of justice. This is wrong, this is right, this is to be happened, this should be happening, and this should not be happening. All these things the child is going through. And the fear, the roots of every fear is words uttered by parents or caregivers. Whatever parents or the caregivers have uttered in the childhood, the child is going through that. The child is wounded inside. It is important to have a non-violent communication. Whenever you hold a violent communication, the child inside is hurt. In spite of you being very old, even above 50 or above 60, there is a child always inside you. And making children to make their choices based on outside approval. Oh, if you choose this as your profession, then outside world, it will not be accepting. It is not acceptable. Okay, so these things would happen. And now there is a shame and guilt. The child feels competent. The child feels incompetent. It is like always there is a guilt. There is a feeling of, why did I feel this? Why did I feel so? Right? And there is ups and downs all the time. There is either deflation or inflation, or either going upwards or downwards. The emotions are traveling up and down. They're never balanced. And the child might also feel a collapsed state within themselves. And there are shocks which the child comes through, that arises whenever there is a slightest bit of pressure or aggression or pain. The child goes through a shock. Okay, and then there is an abandonment, there is a deprivation, entering the world of a very small child who is desperate for love. This is the world of a child who's very much desperate for love, and who feels lonely, frightened, and unprotected. All these fears, these are the roots of fears every child goes through. Right. So when a child is going through all this kind of fears, the growth of a child is completely different. Outer world will not accept. It is true. You need to explain the child that outer world, this is not possible and this cannot be accepted, so that the child can grow more stronger. Right. Unless and until there is something reality, there is something which you even need to know, that this is the reality of the world. You cannot say, just because it is, we need to also understand the child. Every parent is not sitting on harsh words on children just to, pressurize them or insult them or create some criticism in them. They need to understand that it is for their own strength which is happening. They need to understand this aspect. If this aspect is not understood, then there is nothing one can do. Sometimes harsh language, when the mother is harsh, it is the compassion. It is out of compassion the harshness is happening. It is happening because of the understanding of what is happening and how the outer layer and inner layer is going through. That has to be understood. And there are so many fears everyone holds. Fear of being bad. It is that whenever there is a fear of being bad, a person might tend to become a perfectionist, because I cannot tolerate mistakes. So they tend to become perfectionist. And when there is a fear of being unlovable, they become needed by others. That's a root fear. They might abandon me. So let me make them a need of me. Let me make them dependent on me. And now fear of being worthless. When this fear is there, then they are like, they chase success. The root fear is always shame and guilt. They're running behind the success. If I do that, I will be successful. If I do this, I will be successful. Okay. And now when is the fear of being unimportant, when this fear works, the person is always wanting to be special and different. We see some people, when they attend a party or a group, they say, oh yeah, hi, how are you? They behave something special. This is all about the comparison. Oh, they are good, I'm bad, they're better, I'm worst. All these comparison issues. Now, fear of being incapable. When this fear is coming of being incapable, it is like they want to become experts. Am I not capable of it? This fear is they're wanting to be capable, and they're motivated by greed. They isolate themselves. They completely isolate themselves, and they're motivated only by, greed. They want more and more is coming up. This is coming from the root cause of deprivation. And fear of being unsafe. The fear of being unsafe is wanting to understand everything. Feel like life is to struggle. Life is a struggle to survive. It is very difficult to survive. And they often get caught in the self-doubt. They're always suspecting themselves. They don't know what to do. Okay. And next is fear of being trapped. Fear of being trapped is they don't want to commit anywhere. They want to remain uncommitted. Oh my God, if I give a commitment, I'll be trapped. This fear of being trapped will say, oh my God, no, I don't want. And now they plan their lives. They believe that they create their own life. They plan their own life because they don't want to get trapped. And have a larger life image. It is good, a larger life self-image. It is all positive, but it is coming out of a fear of abandonment, and there is a shock that I might be trapped in this. Right? And fear of being lost. The fear when the child is holding the fear of being lost is always living in a frozen existence. It is like no efforts are being made. They feel separated, disconnected, and all this because of some abandonment and some the person whom they like the most or love the most or trusted the most has just left. So there is a shock. All these things come up. Right? All these things come up, and this is what the inner fears, every fear is born out of the root fear, and the root fear, a quality is made out of a root fear, and this root fear is making a person to behave in such a manner. That is the reason we say blaming is never important. No blame and no judgments and no complaints, because every personality is created, is made, is become in such a way because of some or the other aspect which has made them to experience certain aspects of life. So that is how this pattern has become like that. This particular person behaves in this way. Once we understand all these aspects, we need to know. When we know all these things, we develop a lot of compassion towards other human beings, our fellow beings, our fellow travelers. Because this is where the compassion grows. And awakening the child inside is just the gateway of abundance. The child is always abundant. There is always, in every child you see, the life is growing, and the child is always in the receiving mode. Never in the hold mode or stop mode or depressed mode or anything. You see a small infant child. The infant child is not asking you anything, but still everything, whatever he needs is being provided. How is it happening? It is because he is in the receiving mode. The child is in the receiving mode. That's abundance. That's a quality. That's a sign of abundance. Right? Okay, friends, these are the little things about parent and child I thought of sharing. And tomorrow again we'll come back with a new topic, with the new things. And any doubts anyone have on today's topic, you can always leave a comment on this. and see you all tomorrow, the 7 o'clock sharp, the same time. Thank you, friends. Thank you.